Starting October 1st, EA will be introducing adverts at the beginning and end of our podcast episodes. Ad-free feeds will be available for subscribers through Patreon. Sign up now and lock in the $5 a month ad-free rate before the October 1st price increase. Visit patreon.com/EA podcasts for all the details, and we'll talk more about this after the story. PseudoPod, episode 993, September 12th, 2025. This week's story, Home, Laced in Web, by Cameron Shuttle. Narrated by Ray Lundberg, hosted by Alistair Stewart, audio production by Chelsea Davis. Content warnings for dystopia, the island of Dr. Morrow, mutation, body horror, and spiders. Welcome to PseudoPod, the weekly horror podcast. I'm Alistair, your host, and this week's story comes to us from Cameron Shuttle. Cameron Shuttle, they them, is a trans queer writer living in the Boston area and a recent MFA grad from Emerson College, where they were the managing editor of Redivider. Currently, they are the copy chief of Fork Apple Press, a proofreader for Random House, and a copy editor for Page Street Publishing. Their fiction has previously been published by The Dodge and by the Other Stories podcast, and has been nominated for the Pushcart Prize. They hope you can find something a little off-putting in every story they write. Home, Laced in Web was previously published by The Dodge on July 15th, 2024. Your narrator this week is Ray Lundberg. Ray is a writer and voice actor from Kentucky. In addition to co-writing and acting for The Night Post, Ray is also the showrunner and sound designer. Their writing and sound design work can be heard in 9 to Midnight and Kill FM, and they have lent their voice to dozens of audio drama podcasts. A former English teacher, copy editor, and freelance journalist, Ray holds an MFA in creative writing and works in patent licensing for a university. They live in the SF Bay Area with their wife, 2 cats, and overflowing shelves of queer books. So, without further ado, pick through those gossamer strands, but don't touch them for too long, because this story is true.
Home, Laced in Web. Narrated by Ray Lundberg. I follow behind Butcher. A lot of nights spent imagining what I'd say to him. But there's not been much talk on the road. Pretty used to silence anyway. Don't hate it. Leaves room for possibilities. For what could happen when the right moment comes. Already know he's lied, though. Could hear the pause in the words, "my friend," when he spoke of the patient in question. Didn't elaborate. I didn't press. Sets me off a little, though try not to show it. Don't want him thinking I still love him, seeing as I don't. The cart rattles as he tugs it along. Kind of him to take it, though there are few I would leave my equipment in the care of. A cleaver dangles from his belt. His 7-foot frame kindly shading my eyes from the smoke-red sun. His antlers stand another 2 feet above that. Considered not comin'. Bet he never doubted he could get me. And here I am, in step. The trees around us getting taller. The fog thicker as we head north. We'll be in deep wells soon. What once was home. A place where people know my name, whether I want 'em to or not. Where I'm alone and unwelcome. Alone back in Old Haven, too. But there's people like me, at least. Other phenos. Not so like me in morphology. Less spidery, could say. Not that I chose how my body would change. Only that it would. Even amongst the other phenos, I'm not the most well-liked. Not the type that folks are drawn to. The type to spend more than a night with. My house there feels empty. Nobody shares it with me. Too many cobwebs, I've overheard others joke. Had someone stay the night only a month ago. Body covered in the softest brown fur. Claws that had raked across my back. Left before daybreak. Said they had a good time, sure, but it was hard to sleep next to me. Nothing personal. Something innate. A fear they couldn't shake. So which part of me will sell best, I say. A nervous attempt to break the silence. He snorts. No answer. Tough to read. Always has been. Keeps his eyes forward. Alert. Knows the road round here is hostile. There's a comfort in that. Knowing he can fear the world too. Began to think it was just me. Wonder if he really could find a seller with more acquired tastes. Have heard rumors of a northern baron who finds the eyes of phenos to be a delicacy. Can't imagine Butcher would dabble in that business. Never been the type. Good for him. He'll live longer that way. Still, strange to have my services requested like this. Would usually never agree to return to this city on the moors. My body marks me for death here, changed as it is. Reason I had to leave in the first place. Butcher stops. Lets go of the cart. I follow suit, hunched over beside him. Reach up to place a hand on his shoulder. He doesn't mind. I've always liked that about him. Most find me so repulsive. The way they shiver. Something about the coarse hairs. The stick of my hands. Not him, but still, there's risk in the touch. That he could pull away. Automobiles, grown over and rusted, litter the sides of the road. Abandoned for a long time. Won't ever move again, but make good cover. I catch the scent, lean up into his ear. 8 o'clock. The creature charges out from the brush. He rolls away. I jump through a car window. Creature runs straight through where he was standing. Slams into the car I'm crouched inside. Shakes itself. Looks pissed. I'd be pissed. But was born a deer. Antlered and all that. Stomping the ground. No fur on it, though. Half the lower jaw missing. Skin covered in lesions. The work of the knock. Thing's probably crazy with pain with no blockers or sifter to ease it. Takes another charge at Butcher, who holds his ground. Lowers his own antlers. The clack of them connecting echoes out. Lock into each other. Butcher's feet are sliding back on the road. Gets pressed up against a car. The two stay like that for a bit. Stalemated. Looking like mirrors of the other. Like brothers in a quarrel. Beginning to wonder if I need to intervene, when a shot comes from up the road, hits the stag in the rear. It screeches. Awful sound. Butcher thrusts his head, throws it off center. An antler of his gets caught in the tangle, though. Force twists it enough to snap. Breaks like a tree branch, leaving a jagged stump. Grabs the cleaver from his belt. Cuts clean through the throat. Can't help but wonder at that. Whether there's any conflict there. Probably a mercy. But still, would think it'd be tougher for him to kill a creature he looks like. Shares genes with. Maybe not. Most folks think the knock an invasion of their bodies. Something to detest. Reject. Guess I thought Butcher was different. Maybe if the deer had grown a human face, he would have hesitated. Climb out onto the roof of the car. Look up the road. Notice the rifle's still up. Not pointed at me, though. Strange. Figured it would have been. Butch, you know this city ain't welcoming to phenos. She's grown a beard since I last saw her. Scruffy and orange. Not a bad look for her. Wears her father's necklace. A scrunched up bullet on a chain. The man used to get drunk and tell the story of the beast he'd killed with it. Not something he ever took off, prideful as he was. I'll sleep better knowing he's in the ground. Used to have to keep a wide berth from that family. He caught me speaking to his daughter once. Smashed in all my windows that night. They won't harm anyone, Color, Butcher assures. Rolls her eyes. Ain't what I'm worried about. Catch a familiar smell in the air. Not one I'd expect up here. Take a slow look around. No one there. Don't notice the stag beginning to stand. Butcher doesn't either. It's quick. Lunging straight for him before it's fully up. Second shot comes from behind a tree. Not 10 feet from me. Gets it through the head. Stag slides to the ground an inch from Butcher. Go on and thank Zito, Butch. A kid steps out from the tree. They've grown in the decades since. Gotta be in their mid-teens by now. Didn't even hear 'em. Must take after Color. She's a quiet one, too. Zito kid goes to Color's side, giving me side-eye the whole time. They look normal enough, not showing any other signs. But the odor's the first giveaway, though people don't know it. Maybe Butcher can't tell. Maybe Color can't either. Tough to say. This the sawbones you went galloping out of town for? Color's looking at me, full-on staring, frowning. Takes a lean back. Eyebrows raise. Only just recognizing me, seems like. Suppose I look pretty different from the last time she saw me. Well, well. How long you planning to be back in town for, Weaver? Butcher speaks for me. Only for a night. They'll be gone by morning. Something sour there. New info. Good to know Butcher doesn't want me sticking around, I guess. Just thought maybe it wasn't like that. She nods, eyes still on me, more frowning. Looks back to Butcher, questioning. Two of 'em share a look that's not for me. Toes are being stepped on, not sure whose. Then she nods, turns heel. Zito goes with, giving me one last look through the fog. Close to midnight when we arrive. Haven't been back to Deep Wells in a long time. No one left for me. Not many people in general. Ghost town could be called, but everywhere is a ghost town since the knock. Population takes time to recover. Butcher walks through the gates, hands over his papers. I climb the stone wall, follow along the rooftops when he reemerges. People wander below the streetlights. Some nod to Butcher, if they're not too drunk. Pass by a factory. The smokestack's smokeless. Pass a church with barred windows. Know this path well. So he still lives there. Houses in this part of town mostly vacant, waiting to be reoccupied. Nice and quiet. Butcher always did value privacy. Takes out a key and enters the home we shared way back. I wait up above a while. Wonder if he's telling his friend that I've arrived. Wonder if they share the same bed that we once did. The window opens. Don't move. Nothing keeping me here but my word. Thought I'd decided to move on a long time ago. Thought I would have felt more numb to this. Returning to a home that is no longer mine. Knew Butcher would find someone else. Probably never would have even considered me if not for the knock pushed us together like it did. When our friends and families died so quickly. When we had to hide away, even though the viral plasmids had already rewritten our genes. Until the blockers were made to stop all that. Until I stopped taking them, switching out for the less potent sifter that would let my body change safely. It was still early days when I left this house. I thought Butcher might come with me. Tell myself to get it together. Too much time spent in my own head. Slink down and crawl through the window. Butcher draws the shades. I inspect my apparatuses. No cracks in the glassware. No solvents leaked. The reagents in the brown bottle that was sitting right here. Opens his freezer and pulls out a slab of meat. throws it on a pan. Oh. Confiscated. Watchguards didn't like the look of it. Something off when he says this. Voice is flatter. And did you try to pay him off or anything? Didn't want to make a fuss, did I? They would have started asking questions. So you just gave him my sifter? Oh. Frowns. Sorry. Didn't know. Sorry, he says. Fucking great. Not like I need that stuff to live. Got more at home, sure. I can last. But hate to miss a dose. Have to take it twice a day so I don't turn into a pile of cancer, like that deer Butcher left dead on the road. Stupid for not keeping it close. For entrusting anything in his care. Barely even aware of what he's done. Just standing there heating meat. Notice the photos on the wall. Almost leave right then and there. Don't have to be here. He's the one that asked for my assistance. Reached out, put his hand on mine when he asked. Leaned in real close. Not like that now. The more we walked, the more distant he got. Now in this house, his whole demeanor is changed. Won't even look at me. Some pre-knock photos. His family and all that. Seen him before. The rest are newer. Polaroids. Of him and this friend he's brought me all the way out here to treat. Used to be me on that wall. Photos we took together. Wonder what he's done with them. Spot the camera sitting on a shelf. The one I grabbed while others were shoveling food from the store shelves. Not mine anymore. Should have just said, though. And shouldn't have let the watchguards take my fucking sifter. Might at least take me to the room. He nods. Plates the steak. Barely cooked. Pulls out a couple bottles of plasmid blockers. Offers me, tactless as he is. I wave it off as he pops one of each. Shakes out another pair onto the plate. Walks down an unlit hall. Taps the door twice. The scent tells me there is flesh putrefying. Tells me, too, that my presence is detested, and that I'm dealing with a carnivore. There's a lot people say through smells. No! Snarling at me. So aggressive. Another thing Butcher failed to mention. Have met this type before. All that meat changes the brain chemistry. Makes someone think themselves an apex predator. Also makes him smell like a locker room. Doesn't help that he's drenched in sweat. I told you no! Please, Piper. They're here to help. Butcher gives Piper's hand a squeeze. A kiss on the forehead. Such tenderness. I could puke. Sets the plate down. Begins cutting into. Feeding him. Hands over the pills with water. I don't care if you used to fuck this pheno freak. I don't ever want to see another goddamn spider in my life. Wait to see if Butcher will say anything. He doesn't. Thought Butcher had better taste. But nothing beats the ease that must come with choosing someone normal to couple with. Someone who takes their mandated blockers. Move to the bedside. Gesture for Butcher to show me the damage. Pulls back the covers. Piper bites into a morsel. All canines. Stares like he wishes it were my neck. See the scars. Not uncommon for folks to excise the small changes left by the knock. Try not to look at 'em. Don't want this pheno turf to see my eyes linger. Focus on the side of his ribs. 2 puncture holes. Should have at least crusted over, but no. Reach out to touch the blood. Give it a sniff. Almost want to lick it, just to piss him off. Thinks I'm here to suck him dry, I bet. Need to take some samples. A lot of possible reasons for why it's not clotting. Piper notices the antler missing from Butcher's head. Looks concerned. Reaches up for his cheek. Feel like my presence has been entirely forgotten. The pheromones being released from both of them. Finish up. Step out. Can barely stand being in that room. The way Butcher touches him. Looks at him. Whatever. Not my damn business anymore. Set up my stuff around the kitchen. Tie a string around one of the vials. Spin it round and round with one hand. Could only bring so much. Had to leave the centrifuge at home. Pour coffee with 2 other hands. Feels good to keep 'em busy. Place a drop under the microscope while I centrifuge. Looks like a mess. Platelets and red cells torn to shreds. Butcher's behind me, waiting for my attention. Make him wait. No right to interrupt my work. Gracious of me to even be here. Sorry about Piper. Pull a jar out, hand it to him. Get some urine. He takes it, stays standing there. Apparently would rather bother me than assist in getting this over with. Thought he wanted me gone by morning. You think this is something you can fix? Is Piper pregnant? Butcher pauses. No. I grab the jar back. Then never mind. Stop centrifuging. Looks separated enough. Check out the sample. We'll need more than just Piper's blood if it's a... spider bite? Butcher nods. Big one. Holds his hands out to his full wingspan. Big one for sure. Got him at the factory pretty late. Piper went to go check a tank that broke. Didn't see it till it bit him. Full paralysis. He barely managed to scream. He was crawling on top of him for a good long minute before someone came running and... Pauses. Maybe considering his words. I'm just glad he's alive. I hear what he doesn't say. That it's dead now. Shot through. Stomped on. Incinerated. Probably thinks I would take offense. Maybe that's why he's not mentioned it till now. Maybe thinks I live amongst spiders. That there's a whole sub-community of spidery phenos. Nope, just me, far as I know. Tough to say what he thinks of me. If he thinks of me. Not heard from him in all this time. Not until he needed me to come back to treat his husband. Can't stop thinking about the spider sitting on top of Mr. Carnivore. The schadenfreude's amusing, yes, but also doesn't seem right. He should be dead if that thing was sucking out his insides for a full minute. Where's he from? Don't remember him. Further north. Another pause. I hope you know he didn't mean what he said. He's in pain. A rancid apology. You love him, I can see. I do. Happy for you two. Never call on me again. Out the window, wrapped up in my coat. Hides my extra limbs somewhat. Need to be careful round here. The fog is a comfort. The smell of color, less so. She's out here. Decide it's better to pretend to think otherwise. Make for the factory. Let her follow. Wonder if I should just ask her to let me in. Seems risky. Not yet sure how she feels about me. Whether she's taken on her father's mantle. The smokestack surely hasn't been cleaned since the factory was repurposed. Climb down through the soot. Smells of sulfur and gasoline. Have to remove a grate or two. Crawl through the ducts. Find the main hall. Emergency lights glow a steady red. Take a look around at the rows of tanks. Mostly cows and pigs suspended inside. None of them conscious. Never have been, never will be. Easier to farm meat like this these days. Less chance for a knock variant to contaminate the livestock. No broken tanks here. Head back into the ducts. See what other rooms I can find. Climb down into an office. Nothing of interest. Computer needs a password. Not my specialty, old tech like this. Check the drawers. One locked. Busted open. Keycard inside. Nice of 'em to leave it here for me. Get to walk down the hallways this time. Open every door. Offices, mostly. A laboratory. A metallic-scented room where the meat gets packaged up. No broken tanks, don't care. Until a door opens, and there one is. Glass, cracked, like an eggshell. Tarps have been hung around it to block off the rest of the room. Can't see past 'em, but the length of the ceiling says there's more here. The insulation of it is weirdly textured. Up above the lights and the pipes. Up in the rafters. Tough to make it out clearly from down here. The smell of color cuts in. Don't hear the footsteps, though. Have to respect that. Don't trust anyone who stomps about wanting to be noticed. No fear for the attention of others. Much easier to trust someone who's wary of it. Hold it! Rifles on her back. Arms across her chest. Gonna follow me all night? You're the one trespassing. Give the air another sniff. Didn't bring the kid this time? Teenagers need their sleep. Something in her tone. Caution. She reaches into her pocket. Pulls out the bottle the guards took. Sifter ain't so legal in this city. You know that? We'll be sure to take it far away if you give it back. We'll see how the night goes. She repockets it. If you're looking for the fella that did that to Piper, then I'm afraid to say the laboratory boys already burn it. Panicked as they were, like headless chickens. So no hopes for an antivenin. I'm less sure of that. Something in the air. Sterile, mostly. Hint of formaldehyde. But living odors as well. Push past the tarps. Rows of tanks like the main hall. A few dozen. Creatures inside look messed up. Not like they should. All too big. All invertebrates. Insects, mostly. Huge bee in the tank nearest. Size of a puppy. Stinger could probably puncture to my heart. I turn back to Color. What's this? Shrugs. Scientists doing weird shit like normal. Not that anybody tells me anything. Knock experiments, looks like. Almost want to laugh. To hate me for what I am, but still do shit like this. Bet they're using Sifter or some equivalent to get it done. Bet they have it all reasoned out in their trash logic brains. Why, I'm disgusting, but this right here is important work. Thinking about why it would be a quality idea to go ahead and let all these things loose. Don't actually. Would make a lot of work for Color. That's when something hits the floor behind me. Color's swinging out the rifle. Fires. Dead on. Guts everywhere. She looks freaked. Points the muzzle up. Another one drops. Hits it in the air. The ceiling's moving now. The hundreds of hairy bodies crawling over each other. Brown against the cream color of their eggs. Only just hatching. Color is yelling run. She already is. Pulls out a walkie-talkie. Pulls the fire alarm. Telling me to pull myself together. Plenty more are dropping now. Feel the crawl of one as it moves up my back. Sitting on my shoulder. We stare at each other for a second. It's as big as my hand. Must be pretty huge when full grown, I suspect. Color swings the rifle like a bat. Sends it flying. Drags me by a hand toward the exit. Into the hall. Stops before a keypad in a glass case with a handwritten sign on it that reads, "In case it all goes to shit." Smashes it. Yells at whoever's on the other end of the walkie-talkie for the code. Punches it in. Blast doors slammed shut, crushing a spider that was on its way out. Can hear the incinerators going. The collective scream on the other side. Not the type Color would recognize, but screaming nonetheless. Hurts to hear. To think I did nothing to stop it. Color is resting against the wall, sliding down to the floor, still talking to whoever's on the other end. we notice it at the same time, crawling down the wall toward her. Poor baby can barely see. Such fresh eyes. Color swears, goes for her rifle. Tell her no. Pause. Staring at me like I'm crazy. Tell her I need it for the antivenin. Grab the creature by the back of the thorax, like grabbing a cat by the neck scruff. Wriggles a little in my hand. Color still gripping the rifle. Dawns on me then. Why Piper isn't dead. Why he was let live by Mama Spider. Didn't think of it at first because it's atypical for spider behavior. But nothing acts normal after the knock. Can feel the adrenaline kick in. Funny that it hasn't until now. Telling me to run. I don't. Don't hate myself for hesitating. Always good to take an extra second when there's a fork in the road, is what I tell myself. Only a moment of Piper's time. Let myself sit in the temptation. But it's clear what I have to do. More than one life on the line here. No other way about it. Not doing this for Butcher. Not doing this for his dog-toothed husband. Don't bother to explain to Color. Start running. Pass by the laboratory door. Skid to a halt. Notice the sealed bucket in there. Need that. Reach in quick and grab it. Dump out the sand that's inside. Sorry to whoever cleans the floors. Gently place the spider pup inside. Make it out onto the street. All 8 limbs on show. Don't care who sees me. Someone screams. Another throws a bottle that sails overhead. Smashes against a wall. Window's been left open for me. Kitchen's empty. Scrub 4 of my hands. Glove 'em. Piper's sweating. Grunting. Writhing. Butcher's panicked. Bags under red eyes. Dumbass needs to sleep at some point. Hold him down. Bleeding faster than before. Abdomen distending. Already hatched then. Put a scalpel to the skin. Piper's swearing at me. Grab a shirt from the floor. Shove it in his mouth while making the incision. Have to go deep. Ignore Piper's muffled screaming. My bad for not bringing anesthetics. A lot of bleeding. The little ones in here are going to town. 3 total. Pluck 'em out one by one. Discreetly tuck 'em into the bucket with their sibling. Seal the lid. Not the difficult part. Spiders have to liquidate the guts before they can eat. Half the liver's gone already. A kidney, too. Worried how much more he can lose before it's a lost cause. Is there an actual surgeon in this town? Butcher nods. Yell at him to go fucking get them then. But he's already sprinting out the door. Piper's gone back to flailing. Won't do. My fangs are out. Give his neck a little bite. Movements get slow. Limbs go limp. Will still be conscious for everything that happens, but at least won't be able to move. Much easier that way. Not all that sorry for making him relive his trauma. Try to stabilize. Pump out the fluid. Do what I can. Well and truly. Know that I'll get the blame if he goes under. I'll be that petty X forever. Would rather not have my name dragged over his grave if possible. Fuckface better live so I can never think about him again. Long night. Standing in the kitchen as the sun begins to rise. Will be another hour before it crests over the city wall. Finish measuring out the antivenin. Butcher's staring into his coffee. Might lose some muscular function for a while. Should come back. Least of his problems. We'll likely need a transplant or 2. Not my job, though. Surgeon's in there now. Thanks. Reaches to take the sealed vial. And thank you for coming. I know it was a lot for me to ask, but I really appreciate it. The smell he emits is gray. Featureless. Withholding. Known him a long time. He was the first I ever told. Before I even stopped taking the blockers. I've not met many who can lie through their smells. Don't think he does it consciously. Just an old habit. Begin to step away, but his hand is on mine. Can I ask you something? He's looking at me. It feels so good. The warmth of being seen, touched. I've missed this. The way he can make me feel loved and wanted so easily. Same way he looked at me when he asked me to come back to Deep Wells. Treat some friend of his. Pull away. Maybe another time. Doesn't pull me back. No point in sticking around. Feelings have been made clear. For the best. Lot of things I want to say. Don't say any of them. Would only take a few words to burn this bridge for good. But I don't. Would rather not cry in front of him. Pack up the cart, out the door. Don't head for the gate, not yet. Try to take the back ways. Some small kids are chasing each other around the street. They go still when I get near. Run inside. Can hear at least 5 more voices in there. Someone yells. Another tells him to keep it down. Then an adult steps out. She smiles at me. First time since I got here that someone has. Waves me around to the back where there's a yard. Zito's putting a sheet up on a clothesline. Goes on edge when I approach. Gives a look to Color, who's sitting by the washing basin. All right that I'm still here? What do I care? Not like I'm working today. Stand there for a sec. Know I'm being a little awkward. Maybe I can help with that then. Sit down next to her. Take the basin. 8 hands make light work. Zito running back and forth between me and the clothesline. The kid smells like unease. Much as I would like to feel a sense of kinship, they probably don't know what to think of me. Is what it is. Not friendly country out here. Don't want to make too many assumptions either. But a person's odor is different when they're on plasmid blockers. Almost citrusy. And this kid don't smell that way. Say to Color, sorry about your dad. She gives no acknowledgement. Only touches the bullet hanging from her neck. Then reaches down and pulls out the bottle of sifter. You here for this? Might be. Look over at the Zito kid. Their clothes are a couple sizes big on 'em. Lot of skin hidden. Look back to Color. But I can make more. You cooking up contraband? Only what's needed to live. Smiles as much as I've ever seen her. Which is to say, not much. Stopped after the knock took out her teeth. The fake ones look pretty good, I don't say. Well, you'll just have to come back so I can confiscate more. Know some folks around here who would also like to live. City gates close behind me. One guard glares. The other one won't even look my way, white-knuckling the strap of his rifle. Till next time, fellas. The glaring one spits on the ground. Head a few miles down the road, cart rattling behind, deep in the firs. Morning fog all around. The buck's corpse still dead in the road, untouched since Butcher cut its throat. Take the bucket from the cart, hold it over, crack the lid. 4 hairy bodies fall upon the corpse, crawling over the furless flesh. Watch the spiderlings drink their fill. Their hair soft and new, pups that they are. But that goes away, already growing. Consider a year from now, the furs above laced in web, invisible against the fog. Not a bad place for 'em, though folks of Deep Wells might not like that. The forest made more hostile, to them, if teemed with spiders. Consider, too, my home back in Old Haven, full of webs, a-growing spiderlings. A home filled. Might be nice to have company. Already thinking of names. Reach down to stroke the thorax of Skitter. Hairs bristle. Sinks its fangs into me. Don't flinch. Let it pull away. Shuffles out of sight behind the buck corpse. Maybe I'm wrong to think them like me like them, that they would not grow to spin me up in my sleep, to liquefy my intestines. Would not fault them for it. Might wonder how many mutations until they considered me not other. Considered me friend. But that's wrong thinking. Doesn't matter if I were like them. Never mattered. That's the way of it. The world was always meant to be hostile.
Regular listeners will know I am a process guy. I love seeing how the trick is worked, the story told, and there is a choice that Shuttle makes here that I absolutely adore. Look at the length of the sentences across the story and think about how they make you feel. And then track how they make you feel and how that changes across the course of the story. At the start, I figured the structure was aiming for Cormac McCarthy-style minimalism. The idea that in a world like this, where society has been hammered flat, there is so little time for anything that communication has to be functional rather than communal. Emotion burnt out by persistent global trauma. And it's not like we don't all know what that feels like. Then, as the story went on and Shuttle began diving into the true nature of the protagonist, a different facet spun into focus. The small sentences and the persistent descriptions of each action serve two purposes. The first is to educate us in how small this world is now, as well as how dangerous. Everything matters. Every choice has consequence and peril, so every choice is conscious and every choice is communicated. This is a world in permanent, perpetual, universal standoff, each character locking eyes with each other, hands away from their weapons, moving slowly for something that can get them all, hopefully, to the next second. But it isn't just that. It's also a textual depiction of the gap between the protagonist's appearance and the truth of a body that's been changed but is still their own. And isn't it significant and heartbreaking that their heroic action, their purest, easiest choice is when they embrace who they are, not who they've been told to be. They're constantly running audits on themselves, constantly pretending to be normal, and to do that, and it's something I think a lot of people who've experienced trauma across multiple axes learn to do, is essentially to cosplay yourself. I hesitate to describe it as masking because that's not my lived experience and I don't want to appropriate anything. I always thought of it as driving the Jaeger of myself, that split second between say something and saying something, turning you down the hill into the uncanny valley even as you try not to go there. It's a very difficult feeling to capture. It is captured perfectly here. Then, as the story finishes and those final cards are turned, one more reading presents itself. This is the protagonist's true internal monologue. Still human, but skewed, just a little. Just a dash of venom, just a litter of adorable spider pups. No monsters, just fellow travelers. No home beyond a mumbled, heartbreaking, desperate for connection and terrified to receive it. See you next time. Except the homes you make for yourselves. On your own terms. What a story. Spectacularly written, beautifully read and produced. Thanks to all. Let's talk about advertising. Starting October 1st, we will be introducing brief adverts at the beginning and end of our episodes. We surveyed our audience about this a little while ago, and a huge majority of responses not only said they had no issue with ads, aside from one thing that I'll get to in a second, but asked us for an ad-free option for supporters, which we now have. If you're a supporter, you'll get ad-free episodes plus bonus content, and if you subscribe as a supporter before October 1st, you can lock in our current base rate of $5 per month forever. After October 1st, that base rate will rise to $7. So, to be clear, right now you can get us for $5 a month, ad-free, forever. After the 1st of October, you can get us ad-free, forever, for $7 a month. The one thing folks did not want at all is mid-roll ads. Those are ads where they land in the middle of the episode, and we hate them too. So I promise you, right now, on the record and a stack of the holy texts of your choice, that we will never, ever do mid-roll ads. Ever. We're doing this, the approach to paid advertising, for a few reasons. It helps us to continue to support our creators. We believe everyone in our ecosystem deserves to be paid for their labor, and as a non-profit in an environment where grant funding is essentially a barren, featureless wasteland now, we need to balance sustainability with our mission that we love, and that we cannot do without you. We still need donations. We still need you. Think of this as an extra engine, not a replacement. So, thank you for listening and helping us bring free and accessible speculative audio fiction to listeners around the globe. And if you remember one thing from this, remember that you have until October 1st to lock that $5 price in. And if you can't subscribe, we understand completely. Times are hard. But we still need and welcome one-time donations. And regardless of whether you do that or subscribe, we also still need more than just money. If you can't donate to us financially, perhaps you could donate to us temporarily. Talk a little bit about an episode that you loved on social media, link to an episode, write a blog post. Those are still a thing. It's kind of half my day job right now. So, one last thing. If you subscribe, whether it's at the $5 a month or $7 a month level, you are giving us more than just money. You're giving us stability, reliability, dependability, the chance to plan ahead, and also really big locks for the basement. Such big locks. If you can, please go to PseudoPod.org and sign up by clicking on Feed the Pod. If you have any questions about how to support EA and ways to give, please reach out to us at donations@escapeartists.net. PseudoPod is part of the Escape Artists Foundation, a 501c3 non-profit, and this episode is distributed under the Creative Commons Attribution, Non-Commercial, No Derivatives 4.0 International License. Download and listen to the episode on any device you like, but don't change it or sell it. Theme music is by permission of and as Manga. If you want to catch up with us before next week, we now have a Blue Sky account, and we would love to see you there. Find us at pseudopod.org. If you like merch, you can also support us by buying hoodies, t-shirts, other bits and pieces from the Escape Artists Void merch store. The link is in various places, including our pinned post over on Blue Sky. Join us next week as we walk down the aisle with The Bride by Shannon K. Harity. Chelsea's audio producing, Scott's in the big spooky chair, and the narrator is the amazing Alethea Contis. We'll see you then. But before we do, as a colleague of PseudoPod said, Memento Amoris. Remember, you must love.
An arm appeared from nowhere on the shape, seemingly projected like the pseudopod of a protozoan.
It's a pseudopod. It's a big foot.
It's all about podcasts these days.